What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another news video. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a major AEW conspiracy, WWE underpaying its superstars, Trish Stratus announces her WWE return, why Kevin Owens is wrestling Big E, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at a major AEW conspiracy. At top of the news today is a bizarre rumor concerning the WWE apparently having discovered the reason for AEW's success. According to Figure 4 Online's Brian Alvarez, you'll be surely stunned to learn that there are a few people in WWE who believe Tony must be buying up tickets for the AEW show. Apparently, the discussion arose after ticket sales for both companies' respective shows at the UBS Arena in Long Island. WWE held its 29th November Raw, and AEW has a Dynamite and Rampage show coming up on the 8th December. Cultaholics Mitch Wadden discussed the situation, saying, "The final count for tickets distributed for WWE Raw at the UBS Arena in Long Island, New York on Monday sits at 5,887. Images of sections with empty seats at WWE's debut show at the arena were shared on social media." Was the WWE show a complete disaster? Well, certainly not, but Wadden argues that the numbers were disappointing for the WWE, especially considering how AEW is faring with ticket sales. While the number of tickets for WWE would be considered acceptable in a smaller market, achieving such a low number in New York is a huge hit for the promotion, given the state is considered the company's home city. In contrast, WrestleTix is reporting that AEW have already distributed 8,568 tickets for their Dynamite show from the very same arena next Wednesday. Is this a major conspiracy? Well, the idea that Tony Khan is buying tickets seems absolutely ridiculous. While promoters are known to paper tickets for low-selling shows, i.e. give them away or run ticket incentives like buy one get one free, it's unlikely AEW needs to buy tickets to fill its shows. The concept of putting on quality shows for the fans can usually drive ticket sales, as long as the economy is doing well and tickets aren't outrageously priced. Next up is the WWE underpaying its superstars. There's big news concerning WWE superstars' pay, as the Wrestling Observer Dave Meltzer comments that the WWE is grossly underpaying its wrestlers, especially in comparison to other athletes. Meltzer discussed the situation on a recent Wrestling Observer radio, saying, "Becky Lynch is underpaid. There's not one person on this roster who is not greatly underpaid, including Roman Reigns and including Brock Lesnar for that matter. Based on if you were in any sport and the amount of revenue that you draw, the amount of revenue that you generate, when you're talking about the percentage that WWE guys get as compared to even the UFC fighters, who are terribly underpaid, how much is a reserve lineman on an NFL team generating? Nothing, but because the players play the game and the players are the game, they get 50%. Ironically, the WWE incorporated Becky Lynch's salary into a program with Liv Morgan, with Morgan telling Lynch that Big Time Beck's exorbitant salary is the reason WWE cut Liv's friends, i.e. Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott. As we discussed in our 29th November Raw, it's just another case of the WWE shifting the blame from its own actions. Meltzer added, "So an unknown NFL player is still making a lot more money than Drew Gulak, just for example. They're all greatly underpaid based on sports standards. Forget the NBA, those guys make incredible money, but on any sports franchise, they're getting roughly 50% of the revenue. In WWE, it's under 10%, so you could put everyone's salary up 5 times, and you're getting the level where you would be equal to the other sports. And if you did that, the company would still be widely profitable." Now, if Meltzer's take is accurate, it still comes back to the same scenario concerning WWE's labor practices. As long as wrestlers count out a boss Vince, they're always going to have to settle for what he gives them. What do you guys think of this? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Trish Stratus announces her WWE return. The WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus has a holiday surprise for the WWE Universe, as she just announced her return to the WWE. Stratus, who last wrestled at 2019 SummerSlam in a losing effort against Charlotte Flair, took to her website to announce, "Trish Stratus is ready to serve some holiday stratisfaction to the WWE Universe in Toronto. The Hall of Famer returns for one night only to host WWE's live event on Wednesday, December 29th at the Coca-Cola Coliseum. Excited to step through that curtain and feel the energy of the WWE Universe one more time. Let's do this, Toronto." Stratus tweeted the following as well, saying, "Hey Toronto, guess who's back again." Although Stratus is retired, Sasha Banks has expressed a wish to wrestle Stratus, which would certainly be a dream bout. Might this appearance be a way for both Trish and the WWE to gauge whether the fans should see Stratus wrestle one more time? With WrestleMania on the way, a Stratus vs Banks match could be a huge attraction for the 2022 Showcase of the Immortals. Next up, Kurt Angle explains why he's retired from WWE. The WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle wrestled his WWE retirement match against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania 35, a match that disappointed Angle's fans not only because he lost, but because Angle reportedly wanted to wrestle John Cena. However, did you know that Angle could have actually continued wrestling? Well, he recently spoke with Chris Jericho on the Talk is Jericho podcast, explaining why he decided to call it quits after the match against Corbin, explaining what Vince McMahon told him when he expressed his desire to face Cena. Well, Vince McMahon said, "Well, Kurt, you can do that next year." I was like, "Vince, I'm retiring this year." He said, "Well, if you wait another year, I could do that for you." I said, No, I'm gonna do it this year. Because there's no way in hell I was gonna wrestle another year, especially in WWE, because all they were gonna do was job me out for the whole year, so I knew I could see the writing on the wall. I didn't know if I wanted to be a part of that. That's perfectly understandable why Angle wouldn't want to tarnish his legacy by becoming enhancement talent for the WWE's younger stars, given Angle's main event status for much of his career. The Olympic gold medalist and grappling great had a memorable run in WWE, working there from 1998 until 2006, turning to the company in 2017 after a lengthy sojourn in TNA and Impact Wrestling. Would you guys like to have seen Angle continue wrestling? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, the real reason Kevin Owens is wrestling Big E. Kevin Owens is now scheduled to compete in a triple threat match with Seth Rollins against WWE Champion Big E at WWE's Day 1 pay-per-view, but with rumors of KO leaving the WWE when his contract expires soon, fans are asking why. After all, why would the WWE give KO a main event spot if he's on his way out? As always, Meltzer seems to have all the answers and threw out this reason during a recent Wrestling Observer Radio. This allows them to stretch the feud out between Big E and Seth Rollins because Kevin Owens can get pinned and they can keep the feud going. Because on that side, so long as Big E is a babyface champion, it's gonna be tough to put Edge in there. I mean, who is there other than Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens? And Kevin Owens, we don't know how long Kevin Owens is gonna be there. His contract is coming up at the end of January after the Royal Rumble, and then he'll have a decision to make. Another point to consider is that the WWE might be throwing the proverbial bone to Owens, teasing a main event push should he sign back up with the WWE, including the possibility of a title run. Although Owens had a decent run in the WWE, including a transitional reign as Universal Champion, his push over the last few years suggests a World Championship is highly unlikely. Owens seems savvy enough to know that any mega push he receives before re-signing will be short-lived, and if a big push is his motivation for staying or leaving, he's kinda better off leaving. Next up, an AEW star announces her exit. AEW has been signing a number of new wrestlers, but one who won't be sticking around is Big Swole, who recently tweeted that she's decided not to renew her AEW contract. Here's an excerpt from her tweet saying, "Over the past couple of months, my life has taken on the mantra grow, learn, change. Dealing with shadow work took strength I didn't know I had. I thank God for my loving family because they got me through some of the roughest months of my life. But I realized the real test is application. So I took my leap, and after speaking with TK and AEW higher officials, we decided not to renew my contract with All Elite Wrestling. This was a hard decision, but a needed one." Now, according to Wrestling News, Swole took time off earlier this year because of a flare-up of her Crohn's disease. Swole thanked AEW for making her dreams come true and for their understanding. But this may not be the only AEW departure, as Paul Davis reported there are several AEW contracts expiring in the coming months, so there could be more departures coming soon. Given the amount of talent that's come in AEW, it would come as no surprise if AEW thinned out its roster. And finally, Randy Orton's new record. Last but not least, Randy Orton continues to break records in WWE, as seen by the Legend Killer recently setting the record for the most pay-per-view appearances by a superstar thanks to his recent Survivor Series appearance. But now Twitter account WWE on Fox has proclaimed Orton has set a new record, this time for the most matches by a WWE superstar on Raw. At this rate, Orton may start using the nickname The Record Killer. But there you have it guys, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.